Ms. Kischuk, going back to accountability, if an agency or a department receives whatever suggestions and findings that you make as OPM, as the overseer, as the monitor, as the one that promulgates best practices or identifies them, and they do nothing and they get a failing score on that scorecard that you're referring to, and maybe in a newsletter or a website, again, their failings or shortcomings are highlighted, but they still do nothing. Where do you go from there?
Well, I think the publication of the data and the publication of the scorecard mean a lot, and I think there's a commitment at the highest level to that. We work with OMB. OMB sits down as we score. And you mentioned you think there's a budget, there's a budget impact there. I think there is a great incentive with the people involved in doing these scorings and doing these reviews to try to work on these issues. And I know the data is not good, but we are showing some improvement, very slow improvement in the number. I mean, there is attention being paid to this issue, and it is making a difference.
Okay. Mr. Stalcup, and I don't want you to go beyond, and I know you won't anyway, because you guys are so darn disciplined over there. Well, what do we do about the accountability factor? Obviously, Congress is frustrated. I think Mr. Davis is looking at a way of working and setting in place some mechanism that he thinks will pay more attention to the problem, and maybe it will percolate and be better monitored, and maybe they'll come up with some sort of consequence. But what about accountability? What if no one adopts best practices? Someone that continues having a low score and just doesn't improve on making sure that they expand the diverse nature of their workforce?
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. We've done a lot of work, and we've come at this with just a little bit different perspective. Numbers are important. Numbers don't lie as long as they're accurate, and we need to know where we stand, whether it's against the CLF or against the relevant CLF. There are ways to analyze numbers. A few years ago, EEOC issued a new Management Directive 715, which we thought was a major step forward, provided the requirement for agencies to do more in-depth analysis. The point being, where we try to come from this is that the first step is for agencies to analyze their workforces and to understand where they are, and to understand if there are problems in terms of numbers, that indicates that there are barriers of some kind. What are those barriers, and what can we do to get at those? I don't have a ready answer for you in terms of the accountability, but our work has gone a long way in identifying the value of agencies knowing where they are in terms of their workforce, how that workforce matches up with their mission, where there are gaps, developing a strategic plan and a human capital plan that is going to get at those things. And so again, for us, step one is a better understanding not only where we are, but why we are where we are, and what can be done to change that.
Okay. And thank you again. And I want to compliment you for the fine work. And I think you do identify the shortcomings and the problems and where we can improve. But you do leave it up to Congress, which is appropriate for us to find some of the answers to it all. Mr. Harrison, I did not mean to ignore you through this whole proceeding. SBA obviously is very dear to us because this committee wouldn't basically exist because that is our chief charge of what we're doing with the Small Business Administration. I commend you for the effort. I think that there's room for some improvement and such, but we are looking at SBA potentially being a model for other agencies. Obviously, there are much bigger departments and agencies out there. But is there anything that you would like to add as we wrap up the hearing?
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, I would like to just echo some of the comments that I've heard across the panel. I think what's important to this process is a demonstration of commitment to a diverse workforce. And I think our numbers bear out that historically there has been a commitment to a diverse workforce at SBA. And I believe that our practices are consistent with the guidance that we've received from OPM in respect to how we manage our SES program as well as our candidate development programs, which is demonstrated by the diversity in the makeup of our SES workforce. There are always areas that we can improve in. We strongly believe that as we go forward, that more targeted recruitment is necessary, not only for recruiting from the various diverse populations, but maintaining those levels of diversity in our workforce. We're committed to doing that. The commitment is there, and we will continue to practice what we consider to be the best practices that have enabled us to achieve the results we've demonstrated so far.
Well, I want to again thank you, and to all the witnesses, thank you so much. And of course, your written statements will be made part of the record. Again, there'll be some follow-up if we have any additional questions. For many of the members that either were here today or they may have written questions, I appreciate a timely response from you. Again, thank you for everything that you do, and we'll continue the conversation, and we'll see where the legislation goes, and the subcommittee will now stand adjourned.
Thank you.